Who is greater, the one who is at the table or the one who serves? Is it not the one at the table? But I am among you as one who serves. So let me tell you a story about Ed Bray. Ed lives, and at the time the story begins, as we catch up with his narrative, he is 89 years old, almost 90. He lives in a tiny little town called Cookson, Oklahoma. Anybody been there? Don't lie, you haven't. It is southeast of Tulsa, in the middle of nowhere. Ed is an amazing person. On his wall, it's huge, it would cover this wall, are the ribbons he earned in World War II. He was a paratrooper in Normandy and lived to tell it. He was shot in the leg in the first battle, recovered and went back into battle, fought his way all the way to Germany. 2 Purple Hearts, a Bronze Star, and so many combat ribbons you can't imagine, and they just fill his wall. And he's had a good, productive adult life as well. But what's interesting, along with that note about those ribbons, he can't tell you what they are. You know why? Because he cannot read. He literally cannot read the ribbons, the campaign ribbons, what they say. Well, at 89, this is a secret he had kept his entire adult life. And it's interesting what he did for a living. He was a civilian contractor working in an Air Force base, and he was in charge of all the refueling of these fighter jets that would come in. He never did the paperwork because he always had somebody else do it. Only one person knew his secret, his wife of 62 years, Margaret. He has 7 children and right now 18 grandchildren, and they didn't know he couldn't read. And at 89, he said, before I go in the pine box, I'm at least going to read a comic book. Well, a friend of his said, you failed so many times, I have one more thought. I've heard about this woman over at Northeastern State University, a little small university near Cookson. Her name is Dr. Toby Thompson, beautiful lady, in her 40s, family, children, really a deep spiritually guided person, said, why don't you go give her a try? So when he showed up, she could tell he was not real happy to be there. He had failed over and over. He just couldn't do it again. So you know what she did? Cool lady. She said, I tell you, I like you. Let's just get to know each other. So that's what they did. Every week, and then twice a week, then 3 times a week, he would just come and see her. He didn't have anything to do anyway. He's retired. He's 89. Well, they'd just sit and talk. And then one day, she had an inspiration. She teaches this, by the way. This is her professional life. She teaches people who teach people to read and understand curriculum about reading. This is her world. But she'd never had this thought. You know what it was? I'm going to do flashcards. So she tried it one day. She said, what's that word? Do you know what the word was? Dog. He did not know it. But he knew it the next time he saw it. And then another word, and then another. He kept coming. She said, the only admission is you have to make the coffee. So week by week, flashcards, flashcards, flashcards. This went on for several months, not making this up. And then finally, you know what he did? He read a sentence. From the sentence, he read bigger sentences. And then after several months, he finally read his first book, a 3rd grade book about Washington, George Washington. And he said, it's like I came alive again. It's like I'd not been alive. And listen to all of his accomplishments, family, productivity, church work, all this stuff. He came alive. He went from 3rd grade to 6th grade. And now if you met him today, because guess what? He turned 100 years old about 2 weeks ago. And guess what this veteran does? He still is serving because he goes around and talks to children now about reading. And the other thing that he and Toby Thompson, who have become friends, and lots of other people know him, they go do karaoke, and he can read and sing the words, which is hysterical. So veterans know how to serve. The root metaphor, by the way, of Jesus. I want you to hear that again. I came to you serving. In another place in the gospel, it's more powerful. I did not come to be served, but to serve. Jesus is quoted as saying, I did not come to be served. If our country needs anything, and you don't have to take this home with you if you do not want to, we need more service, real service. If you want the world to be a better place, what were you always told? Do something for somebody. By the way, Toby Thompson said he became an inspiration for her, it like regenerated her life. And you know why she's doing what she's doing? Because of her faith. She said, I learned something deep about not giving up on people, about looking past the exterior, seeing something deeper, and also somebody who is so much older and with whom she had not much, in common. And yet there they were bound together. She said, I learned the gospel through Ed. Maybe we take away today a simple thought. You in a bad mood, you're griping, you're watching too much news, do something for somebody. And I promise I'm going to try to do the same thing. And I'm going to honor a lot of people, including my brother who died in Vietnam, who did do what the country asked them to do. But you know what? Many of you do what the country is asking you to do every day. So let's do it together. I promise we will make a better community and we'll make a better world. Amen.